we highly recommend investing in some property management services when you're not, especially when you're not around. Having, even a maid or somebody come in or a management company come in every couple weeks or even once a month, just to open the doors, open the windows, run the ACs, make sure the dehumidifiers are working.
Welcome to Live by Design Mexico Edition, the podcast about creating freedom, adventure, and a life in Mexico that's truly your own. I'm your host, Taniel Chemsian. If you've been dreaming of warmer days, smarter investments, and a future designed on your terms, your journey starts here. Each week, we'll share stories, insights, and strategies to help you make Mexico not just your destination, but your new way of life. This isn't about waiting for that someday. It's about living by design, starting now. So let's get to it. Hi, Kristen. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Taniel. It's amazing to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm super excited.
Well, I'm excited too because you are from Washington State, and I think you're the first guest that I've interviewed from Washington State, and then you moved to Mazatlán. So tell us, how did that happen?
That is correct. So yeah, Washington is known for having lots and lots of rain up in the Pacific Northwest. So we're lucky to maybe see, 3 months of probably sunshine up there. And then the rest is gray and drizzly. So yeah, we decided, my mom and I and a really good friend of ours used to basically buy property and flip it in Washington State. And we did that for quite a few years. And in 2007, we sold pretty much most all of our projects and things that we had done. And my mom retired and basically moved to Mazatlán full time. And we had gone down to visit her a few times in Mazatlán, and we just absolutely loved it. It's just so beautiful. The people, the atmosphere, the food, everything about it we just love. And I'll never forget it, but she called me one day just totally randomly, and she said, "I found your house here in Mazatlán." And she said, it's right across the fairway from where we live in El Cid. And she says, it's a fixer. She said, you need to buy this. And so basically that's where it all started. So
basically she was your real estate agent.
Yes. Yes. My mom was our real estate agent. Yeah. She, we fixed and flipped houses for years. So I trusted her in that department. And so when she called and said that we basically needed to buy this property, I was like, let's do it.
Okay. So did you just buy it sight unseen? Did you actually come down and look at it yourself?
No, she sent me some pictures, my husband and I some pictures, and we basically bought it sight unseen. We saw pictures, but we didn't physically come down. And I just trusted her because was a business that we were in for years. And she definitely can spot a good property, and we were very close to her on the golf course. So yeah, so we just basically said yes and transferred her the money, and she helped us close it. And it was one of the best decisions we've ever made.
Wow. And what year was this when you guys purchased the move?
Oh gosh, I think we purchased this house, I want to say somewhere between 19 to 20 years ago.
Wow. Okay. Long time. So once your mom found the house for you guys and you purchased, so what are all the things you had to go through to prepare and exit the United States? Did you guys have to sell your house? Did you just edit everything? What was that like?
Initially, it didn't. What it started out as was that my husband and I, we decided, we had 2 boys at that time. They were 8 and 10. And so what we decided, we thought, okay, we have this house in Mexico. We weren't at that time really ready to make a commitment down there full time. But we said, let's go down for a year. Let's fix up our investment. We were going to basically have it as a vacation rental home. And we'd committed to a year. We thought, let's put the boys into a private school down here. We'll fix it up, turn it into a vacation rental. And then we were planning to go back to Washington. And when we were down here and we were had the kids in school, we were getting to work on the house, and we had this lady from Calgary. She had a house just a few doors down from us. And so I started talking to her, and she was we were talking about our history of fixing homes in Washington, and we were also landlords as well. We did long-term rentals. And she looked at me and she said, oh my gosh, she says, it's really hard to find a good property management company down here. I'm from Calgary. I only come down like maybe a few months out of the year. And she said, I would really love to hire you guys to help me manage and rent my home when I'm not here. And I looked at my husband and we both said, if we say yes, that means we're not leaving Mazatlán. And so for us, that's pretty much how the journey started down here for us. And so we said yes. And we didn't initially sell our home in Washington right away. We actually found a long-term renter. And so we rented it out for quite some time. But when we decided to make the move, I'll never forget it because my mom basically came, she was in Mexico. She flew up to Washington. She took the boys and basically flew them back to Mazatlán with her to make it easier for Lion and I. And we had a Jeep Grand Cherokee at the time. And our plan was to drive down to Mexico in the Jeep. And our comments to each other were like, if it doesn't fit in the Jeep, it's not coming. So we basically loaded up the Jeep with, everything that we thought we wanted to take with us to Mexico. And if it didn't fit in the Jeep, it didn't go.
That's smart. So did you guys get your residency right away because you started your property management business because you have to be a resident in order to work? And what was that process like?
Yeah. So when we first came down, we ended up getting a temporary residency so that we could be there longer than 6 months. And so we started with that process through immigration. Since we did it so long ago, it's changed over the years now. But it was something that we had to renew every year until we got to a point where I think 4 or 5 years in, we were able to apply for our permanent status, which is what we have now.
Okay. Yeah. They changed the system. In the beginning, it was called an FM3 and an FM2. And I forgot 16 years ago, they changed it to a temporary residency and permanent residency and the requirements changed and everything changed about it. So I got a question for you. So you started a property management business. Are you guys still in that business?
We are still the property management business. Actually, that was the very first thing we started with the property management and the vacation rentals, which is called Mazatlán for Rent. And just recently, actually, it was maybe a little about over a year ago, we actually ended up selling just that portion of the business to an employee of ours who's been with us since the beginning. Him and his mom actually bought that portion of the business from us. He's a lot younger than my husband and I. He's got a young family. He is very, very knowledgeable and they're just killing it. So they're doing a really good job. We're all in the same building. We have 2 separate entities. One's called Mazatlán for Rent, which is the vacation rentals and property management division. And then we have another entity, which is called Mazatlán for Sale, which is basically just our real estate brokerage. So for about the last year and a half, Bernardo and his mom have been running the property management and vacation rent. Okay.
A lot of Americans and Canadians that are buying in resort towns like Mazatlán and Puerto Vallarta and Cabo, Cancun, they tend to rent their home out while they're not here. So could you give us some pointers, like the do's and don'ts of the property, what property manager can do and as a vacation rental property owner, as an investor?
Yeah. The maintenance down here, specifically in Mazatlán is a lot because, we're so close to the ocean. I think we're probably even considered one of the saltiest cities around. And the salt, especially if you're right on the ocean, requires a lot of maintenance in your condos and your homes and things like that with anything metal. And so we highly recommend investing in some property management services especially when you're not around. Having, even a maid or somebody come in or a management company come in every couple weeks or even once a month just to open the doors, open the windows, run the ACs, make sure the dehumidifiers are working. Just having boots on the ground is absolutely priceless. We also have hurricanes in the summer, buildings, you can get water in the building sometimes through windows. It's a small price to pay for a property management service that could save you a lot of money in the long run. So I would highly recommend anybody do their research, find a good company that's got a good reputation. They have good reviews. And they know what they're doing. Yeah, definitely recommend property management services, especially if you're planning on not being here.
Yeah, I have some clients who they thought their maid could be their property manager, and I thought, no, get a real property management company. God forbid there's a leak, there's an electrical issue, and like you said, you have to open up the place and air it out. Otherwise, Vallarta, we're in the tropics, and in the summertime it's hot and humid, and mold can grow rather quickly, as we all know. Yeah,
very.
So, Kristen,
so much.
So real estate. So you guys have a real estate business. So what I would like to ask you is, what are, would you say, 3 neighborhoods right now that a foreigner, like an American or Canadian, that's considering moving to Mexico should look at? Why? And what are the prices like in these 3 neighborhoods?
So if I had to pick 3 neighborhoods, we'll go central first, which would be considered the Golden Zone, or in Mexico, they call it the Zona Dorada. And there's, like, for example, there's a neighborhood in there called El Cid. El Cid is a private gated community that's been around for a long time. We have 3 9-hole golf courses, and you're pretty much walking distance to a lot of things, and beaches, hotels, restaurants, coffee shops. I mean, it's just such an amazing location. Grocery stores are nearby. It's also very, very, it's known for its security. So it's very, very secure. And then in the, kind of in the dusk in the evening, it's like, having the golf courses in your backyard. It's like you have a giant park in your backyard. So you see kids out there, kind of playing football or playing tag, and lots of people walking their dogs. My husband and I actually own a home in El Cid. So this is where we live. We love it. We love to play golf. You can find homes here in El Cid for, I would say, there's all kinds of budgets, but you could probably find anywhere between, 400,000, 600,000, and you can even go up from there. We do have a marina here in El Cid as well. And so a lot of the homes on the marina are, you're probably looking at more 900,000 and above.
Okay.
And then,
and what do you get for 400,000?
400,000 right now. For example, there's a condo in Tenerife, and Tenerife is located at the front entrance of El Cid. So it's an amazing location. The pool's heated. The community of people that live there are like outstanding. Community's everything. And so it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in Tenerife, which is a premium location for about 400.
Okay. And what's another neighborhood?
So another neighborhood I would say would be Cerritos. So Cerritos is a little bit north of us from El Cid, and it's basically where all the pristine beaches are. So, the beaches are just immaculate. It's just the swimming, even a little bit on the far north end of town. There's just amazing surf points like Playa Bruja. And there are homes out there on the beach, but there's very few. There's more like big kind of like condo complexes out there, I would say, more so than actual physical homes on the beach. But Cerritos is definitely like for the people that love the beach and love the quiet. You're kind of a little bit away from everything. It's probably, I would say it's probably the more expensive condos on the beach there. Let's see, oceanfront in one of my favorite complexes, let's say in Paraiso, you're probably looking 3-bedroom condo, probably around 800,000.
And what's your third favorite neighborhood? And
so my third favorite neighborhood would be downtown Centro Historico. So downtown it's almost like a very European feel. There's a group down there that is like dedicated to protecting the historical look of downtown Central. So, which is amazing because they don't allow like big high rises and things like that. They want to keep the look and feel of Centro with all of its vibrant colors and open air restaurants and Plaza Machado and live music. And they have an art walk during the season. That's like the first Friday of every month. And they give you like a map of different areas to kind of walk around and visit all these different art galleries and things. It is so neat. down in Central, you can like literally walk to everything. So usually people that like live in Central, they don't need a car. They don't really need a bike. They pretty much just love to walk everywhere. You can walk to the grocery store. You can go out to eat, walk to restaurants, coffee shops, you name it. Centro is probably, I would say, out of the three, the least expensive place to live. You can find a really good home down there you could probably find something, in the $300 range and up.
$200,000 or $300,000.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so what do you get for that? Like a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom?
You can find 2 bedrooms, in those price range. Obviously the lower the price point, you're probably looking at something that needs like significant, amount of work, unless you're, maybe in like a new like condo complex and things like that. But the condo complexes, to be honest, that they're building these days, they're making them so small. And the construction on some of them is not that great. It's like they're using like sheetrock for the interior walls. And so you can like hear your neighbor next door and things like that. Some of the complexes I'm not too excited about. It's, the ones that they used to build like back in the day that are like solid concrete and, they use like 3/4 inch rebar and things like that. Like they don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah. You said, earlier on, when you and your husband came down to do some renovations and put the boys in private school, what was it like doing the renovations? I mean, did you guys do it yourself? Did you hire someone else to do it?
We did some of it, but mainly like the stuff that we would do is like, like the decorating, the painting, interior painting, things like that, just like miscellaneous, the fun stuff. But for most of it, like the construction part, we hired it out, like all the concrete work. And the one thing that was an eye opener for us when we were doing the construction is that, back home, we work with 2x4s and sheetrock and insulation. And here everything's like solid concrete. So, when you want to put your electrical lines in the walls, they basically have to chisel out a channel to bury the electrical lines and then, with concrete. And it's a lot different process the construction that they do down here.
Yeah, no, I know totally. I've gone through a few renovations myself and they've had to chisel away at the concrete wall, then put in the electrical and then get the spatula, put the concrete back up. And yeah, I've seen them do that many times. Being a real estate agent,
a scar on your wall.
Well, if it's not done right, yes, absolutely. Selling real estate in Mexico, how different is it than selling real estate back in the States?
Oh, it's definitely a lot. I don't know. That's an amazing question because in the States, there's so much more paperwork. You have so many like rules and regulations and paperwork and things that you have to fill out. And, Mexico is starting to kind of catch up with that more, like with AMPI and getting certified for real estate agents and, making sure that your paperwork is, your legal paperwork and your offers and all that stuff are run by Profeco and making sure that everything is, like legal and protected and things like that. So I feel like in the past, it definitely was, the process was a lot easier. But at the same time, it was the crazy thing is that you could have, everybody thought that they were like real estate agents, from your taxi driver to your, waiter at the restaurant and things like that. And they're not real estate agents. And in the end, so I'm actually really thankful that AMPI is making people get certified and licensed and all of that. I think that it'll help kind of weed out some of those taxi driver real estate agents.
Yeah. So for our listeners who don't know what's AMPI, AMPI is the Mexican Association of Real Estate Professionals, and Profeco is the Consumer Affairs. And I agree with you, Kristen. When I started real estate 20 years ago, our paperwork was maybe 10% of what it is now. I mean, right now it's just a mountain of paperwork and compliance, anti-money laundering documentation, and everything else.
Yes.
It's just it's like the amount of paperwork that you have to have on hand is just, it's tremendous. And yeah, taxi drivers would think they're real estate agents, a hairdresser, you name it. So it's changed. It's changing. I think, they're making it tougher and tougher to become a real estate agent. I think that's for the benefit of the consumer.
Yes.
Because there are some bad seeds out there, just like in any industry, any career. So I think it's a good thing what the government is doing right now. What are some of the mistakes or risks foreigners make when purchasing a property in Mexico?
We've had some stories unfortunate stories where they have, maybe somebody has, maybe not done some research on who they're dealing with. And there was one instance down here where there was a kind of like a taxi cab driver, real estate agent type thing, where they had sold the same property to multiple people. And so I think that guy ended up in jail eventually. But the biggest thing I can say is do your research, do your homework, find a company that has a good reputation or an individual that has a good reputation, contact some of their resources and some of the people that they've worked with to see if they're a good fit for you. So doing your homework and surrounding yourself around people that you could trust, because it's a big investment. It's one of the biggest investments you're going to probably make in your life. And, you don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. It's for most of the time, it's people's life savings or close to it. And they've worked hard their entire life to get to this point for them to be able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. So it's a tremendous responsibility for someone to come to you where we're basically a stranger, and they're doing their best with their due diligence, interviewing other agents and hoping that they pick the right one that's going to be their advisor and their advocate from beginning to end. And they're going to get their keys to their new home in paradise safely and securely. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. I think a lot of people too, sometimes they, with buyers specifically, that they think maybe they're going to be saving on commissions or things like that. And when people are buying property in Mexico, it's actually the seller that's paying the real estate commissions. The buyers pay for the closing costs, but the sellers are the ones that are paying for the commission. So go through a trusted agency, saving the extra 2.5% or whatever it is, depending on who you're dealing with, may not be worth it.
Yeah. I had the prospective clients years ago when I started, like 20 years ago, and they didn't buy during the time that when they were visiting Vallarta, then I was on vacation, and they emailed me. They decided they walked by some developer's office and they walked in there on their own, told them they don't have an agent representing them. They thought they could just buy this on their own, thinking they're going to save whatever commission the developer was going to pay. They thought, we'll just get that as a discount from our purchase price. And guess what happened? They got burned and the development never happened. They lost all their money because they didn't do any due diligence. They just signed paperwork and they wired the funds. And then they emailed me asking me for help. I said, I can recommend a few real estate attorneys and then take it from there because I don't have a copy of their contract. I have no idea what they did. So don't be greedy. Don't be dumb. Hire a reputable real estate professional and get a real estate attorney, review everything, perform the due diligence, and then wire the funds.
Exactly.
So,
and having a good notario is everything. A good trusted notario is absolutely. Totally agree with you.
So for someone who's back in the States and Canada and they're thinking about making the move to Mazatlán and they just haven't had the courage to do it, or there's something holding them back, what word of advice would you give to those people?
Well, for me, I would just say, just go for it. Just do it. I mean, if it's something that you really want to do and you enjoy, just go and live your life and do what makes you happy. I remember when my husband and I, we were talking to some of our friends and family and things like that when we were deciding that we were going to move down to Mazatlán. And I cannot tell you how many people in our circle tried to talk us out of it. They're like, what are you doing? You're crazy. You're taking your kids down there. They're like 8 and 10. And, everybody has an opinion and everybody's trying to talk you out of it. And sometimes that's hard, when you're, but the truth is that you just have to listen to you and do what you want to do. And, if you find yourself a really good circle and people like real estate agent, company, some people that you can talk to that are already living in the area that you want to explore or go live. I guess what I'm trying to say is that, do it for you. Don't do it for somebody else or what somebody else thinks you should do. So, because for us, It was, even though we got so much resistance from, with our friends and things like that about going down there, it was seriously one of the best decisions we've ever made. And that was almost 20 years ago.
Well, congratulations for blocking out all that noise, because like you said, this is your life, not theirs. If they don't understand it, that's okay. They're not the ones living your life. You are. You did your due diligence. Your mother moved there. Kudos to her.
Yeah.
She started it all. She found your place. So that's great.
Yeah.
So, Kristen, if somebody wants to get a hold of you to learn more about real estate.
Yes. So if somebody wants to get a hold of us, our website is www.Mazatlan4sale. And you can also email us at office@Mazatlan4sale.com as well. My husband and I, my husband's name is Taniel Decker. So, we basically own the brokerage, Mazatlán for Sale. And we have an amazing team that has worked with us ever since 2017. And they've, helped us grow the business to where it is today. And we've actually made all of our team members partners. Anyway, we have an amazing reputation. We've been here for a long time. So if anybody just has any questions or anything about anything, please don't hesitate. We're happy to help answer questions for anybody. Our brokerage really isn't about, selling houses. It's about making lifelong dreams come true.
Yeah. Well, amen to that. Well, Kristen, thank you so very much. I wish you all the best. And thank you for joining us today on the podcast.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to Live by Design Mexico Edition. If there's a topic you'd love for us to cover, email us at info@TanielChemsian.com. We'd love to hear your ideas. And be sure to subscribe, share the show with a friend, and join me each week as we explore how to create freedom, adventure, and live by design under the Mexican sun. Design your days now, and your future will follow.